The conference room fell silent the moment the contract landed in front of me. Every eye in the building had expected one of us to walk out victorious and the other to walk out unemployed. Instead, my greatest work rival looked directly at me, pushed the papers across the polished table, and calmly offered a deal that made no sense at all. I should have celebrated. I should have questioned her motives. But nothing prepared me for what happened an hour later when I accidentally heard her whisper to her sister outside the hospital entrance. The words she spoke shattered everything I thought I knew about ambition, competition, and the woman I had spent 3 years trying to defeat. Before we continue, if you believe kindness, forgiveness, hope, and second chances still matter in this world, please take a moment to like this video, leave a thoughtful comment, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps our community continue sharing stories that remind us humanity is stronger than pride. For nearly 3 years, Preston Hale believed there was only one obstacle standing between him and the career he had worked tirelessly to build. Her name was Claire Whitmore, a brilliant project strategist whose ideas seemed to appear moments before his own. Every major promotion seemed to become a contest between them. Every company meeting became another silent battlefield where success was measured in presentations, numbers, and the approval of executives who loved competition almost as much as they loved profit. Their co-workers joked that the office could lose electricity, internet, and even coffee, but somehow the rivalry between Preston and Claire would still continue without interruption. Preston had never hated Claire personally. What he hated was the constant reminder that someone else could match every ounce of effort he poured into his work. Whenever he stayed late refining proposals, Claire somehow arrived the next morning with an even stronger strategy. Whenever he earned praise from leadership, she was congratulated moments later for achieving something equally impressive. It became exhausting to measure his worth against someone who never seemed to make mistakes. Everything changed when their company announced a competition that would determine the next regional director. The winner would receive an enormous salary increase, leadership over hundreds of employees, and the opportunity to transform the company's future. Everyone assumed the final decision would come down to Preston and Claire. For weeks they worked harder than they ever had before. Their presentations became legendary inside the office. Co-workers whispered predictions during lunch breaks. Managers quietly admitted they had never seen 2 employees so evenly matched. Preston barely slept. Every morning began before sunrise, and every afternoon disappeared beneath endless meetings, reports, and revisions. The pressure became overwhelming, but he convinced himself it would all be worth it if he finally proved he was the better candidate. Then came the meeting that changed everything. Instead of delivering another competitive proposal, Claire requested a private conversation. She calmly suggested that rather than destroying each other's careers through endless competition, they combine their ideas into one unified strategy. If their proposal succeeded, they would request shared leadership responsibilities, something the company had rarely considered but desperately needed. Preston stared at her in disbelief. He assumed it was a trick. He assumed she had discovered a weakness in his presentation. He assumed she wanted access to his research before submitting her own. Still, curiosity overcame suspicion. Against every instinct, he accepted the partnership. Over the following weeks, something unexpected happened. Working beside Claire revealed a completely different person than the rival he had imagined. She never took credit for his ideas. She encouraged younger employees who struggled with confidence. She quietly stayed after meetings to help interns improve their reports without expecting recognition. Even when executives praised her individually, she redirected attention toward the entire team. Preston found himself confused. The ruthless competitor he had invented inside his mind simply didn't exist. Their combined proposal exceeded every expectation. Executives praised the collaboration as one of the strongest business strategies the company had ever received. Productivity increased before implementation had even officially begun because employees finally saw 2 respected leaders working together instead of against one another. Everyone celebrated except Claire. She smiled politely during meetings, yet something behind her eyes remained painfully distant. One bright afternoon, after another successful presentation, Preston noticed Claire leaving the office unusually early. Curious, he walked toward the parking area but stopped when he recognized her entering a nearby hospital. Concern replaced curiosity. He had no intention of following her, but while walking toward the hospital cafe to meet a former colleague, he unintentionally heard Claire speaking softly to a woman sitting beside the entrance gardens. The woman was her younger sister. Claire's voice trembled with exhaustion as she admitted she had accepted the partnership because she no longer had enough strength to keep fighting everyone. Their mother's treatments had consumed nearly every dollar she had saved. She spent mornings leading major projects, afternoons attending medical appointments, and evenings caring for family responsibilities that nobody at work knew existed. She confessed she feared losing the promotion because without additional income she might not afford the specialized rehabilitation her mother desperately needed. Yet she also admitted something that stunned Preston even more. She said Preston deserved success just as much as she did, and if working together gave both of them a future instead of forcing one to fail, then perhaps that was the only victory that truly mattered. Preston stood frozen. The woman he had viewed as an enemy had never viewed him the same way. He quietly walked away before either sister noticed him, but nothing inside him felt the same afterward. The following days became the most uncomfortable of his career because every memory of resentment now carried overwhelming guilt. He remembered every sarcastic remark, every assumption, every silent celebration whenever Claire appeared tired. None of those moments reflected the truth. While he obsessed over promotions, she was balancing spreadsheets in the office and hospital bills at the same time. Instead of confronting her directly, Preston began helping in ways that attracted no attention. He volunteered to cover meetings whenever Claire needed unexpected time away. He credited her contributions more openly during executive reviews. He encouraged the leadership team to adopt flexible scheduling for employees dealing with family emergencies without mentioning her name. Gradually, the entire workplace changed. Others followed his example. Departments became more supportive. Competition slowly gave way to collaboration. People who had once hidden their personal struggles began feeling safe enough to ask for help. Months later, the executive board announced its decision. Instead of choosing a single regional director, they created a new leadership structure inspired entirely by Preston and Claire's partnership. Both received promotions, equal authority, and the responsibility of building a healthier company culture. During the celebration held that sunny afternoon on the company's rooftop terrace, Claire finally learned that Preston knew about the hospital. She looked embarrassed, believing she had appeared weak, but Preston simply told her that strength had nothing to do with pretending life was easy. Real strength meant carrying impossible burdens without allowing them to steal kindness from your heart. That single conversation marked the end of a rivalry that had lasted years and the beginning of an extraordinary friendship built on mutual respect instead of fear. Over time, Claire's mother slowly recovered through rehabilitation. It wasn't an instant miracle. Progress came through countless difficult afternoons filled with determination, setbacks, encouragement, and patience. Preston often visited after work with books, flowers, or simply a warm smile. The family never forgot those small acts of compassion because they arrived without expectation of praise. Years later, new employees often heard stories about the legendary competition between Preston and Claire. They expected tales of betrayal and revenge. Instead, veteran co-workers always shared a different lesson. They explained that the greatest victory in the company's history wasn't a promotion or a record-breaking project. It was the day two rivals stopped trying to defeat each other and started helping one another succeed. Preston eventually realized something he wished he had understood much earlier. Every person carries invisible battles. The coworker who seems distant may be protecting a broken heart. The employee who appears distracted may be worrying about someone they love. The rival standing across the meeting table may be surviving hardships no resume could ever reveal. Compassion often begins where assumptions finally end. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. Before you go, leave a meaningful comment telling us about a time when someone surprised you with kindness after you had misunderstood them, or share what lesson this story meant to you. Your words may become the encouragement someone else desperately needs today. As the warm afternoon sunlight stretched across the office windows, Preston and Claire looked out over a workplace transformed not by winning a competition, but by choosing understanding over pride. They discovered that success shared with compassion lasts far longer than success won through rivalry, and that the strongest people are often those quietly carrying the heaviest burdens while still finding room to lift others. In a world that constantly encourages us to compete, their story became a lasting reminder that forgiveness can rebuild trust, hope can heal wounded hearts, and one act of genuine kindness can change far more lives than any victory ever could.